we have reached new levels of female fragility. So the year is 2025, and women are taking normal things that happen in a relationship and reframing them as coercion and abuse. So apparently, tickling, yes, tickling now falls into that category. And this is an example of concept creep, which I'm going to get into more later.
My name is Madeline, and I'm a survivor of long-term abuse by a man named Alexander, or Alex Wisniewski. I have already tried the legal route, I have already contacted his employer, and I have publicly outed him here on social media a few times. But out of fear, I have taken those videos down. But I'm not scared anymore. And so tonight, in solidarity with every survivor across the world, and on the eve of the vote to release those files, I will be reading aloud the most damning parts of my documentation. This segment is about sexual coercion, so viewer discretion is advised. I was struggling with my libido and wasn't as interested in sex as Alex was, but initially he was understanding. Over time, however, he began guilt-tripping me when I wasn't interested, making me feel pressured into sexual activities to appease him. The coercion started to become more severe after about 6 months of living together. Alex would not take no for an answer, sometimes up to around 4 or 5 times, repeatedly pushing me with phrases like, "We can do what you want to do. You don't have to do anything you don't want to. At least let me give you oral sex. Come on, we never have sex anymore." If I still declined, he would shut down all intimacy and withdraw emotionally for the night, go to bed without me, and make me feel very guilty about the situation. Honestly, most of the times I would give in. I felt an immense amount of guilt and pressure. I eventually confronted him during one of these instances around summer of 2023. I directly told him that this is coercion, and I was met with defensiveness and denial. He even threatened the relationship and said something along the lines of, "If you feel that way, then we shouldn't be together." This really upset him, and he managed to make me feel an immense amount of guilt for even accusing him of it.
Yes, so this is where we're at, and I'm sure you noticed the post has 1 million likes. Oh, in the comments. Oh, man. Don't even get me started. This is insanity. The sheer support that this video got shows that young women are losing touch with reality. And if you think this part of the video is strange and hyperbolic, wait till you hear the next part. What she's describing here is not coercion. It's not anything uncommon in a mismatched, libido relationship. And her evidence for coercion is he got disappointed, he withdrew emotionally, he got defensive when accused of that, and then he said maybe they shouldn't be together. And she says he wouldn't take no for an answer. I mean, what does that mean? He physically forced it on you? Oh, no, he didn't. He didn't do that. Because after that, she says, after she says he wouldn't take no for an answer, she also says that he literally said, "You don't have to do anything you don't want to." This woman actually thinks she is a victim of something. So much so, she has tied her situation with Epstein's victims. And she thinks this is a perfect time to bring up her story, her victim narrative. Because, apparently the files are going to be released soon, so it's a perfect time. And this is what I was saying yesterday. The social currency of victimhood is highly desired by women. And what this woman is doing, it's an abomination. This young man should lawyer up. 10 million views that video got. She name dropped him. She posted a picture of him. And again, to reference one of my past videos that I posted a couple days ago, I mentioned there's a trend amongst women, and it is they want to expose, shame, and belittle men publicly for sport. And this is out of control. This is a massive problem. She had a low sex drive, and he had a normal male sex drive. That's it. But because stating that plainly doesn't really earn her any victim points, she repackages the whole thing in these therapy buzzwords so it can be presented as real trauma. Men wanting sex with their girlfriend, I hate to break it to you, that's normal. Men initiating sex is normal. Men trying again is normal. Men feeling shut down or rejected is normal. Hey, men have feelings too. Men getting disappointed when intimacy disappears is normal. None of this is coercion. None of it is manipulation. It's called being a man in a relationship. Men have needs. Men feel desire. Men crave physical connection as well. So, women talk a lot about love language. Intimacy is a man's language. It's important to him. But women don't want, accept that. They want to treat male sexual desire as if it's a disease. She wasn't interested. He was. She said no. He tried to compromise, offer alternatives. And yeah, he got disappointed when she constantly rejected him. And he sometimes would withdraw emotionally when the intimacy disappeared. He can do that. And then she said she eventually gave in because she felt guilty. This is just a relationship with mismatched sex drives. You live together. You're in a relationship together. Calm down. And she didn't say he threatened any violence. She didn't say he forced anything. And she didn't say he ignored a boundary. She said she felt pressure and guilt. Translation, she didn't want to be the one who killed the physical connection in the relationship. So she said yes sometimes, even when she wasn't in the mood. I mean, welcome to adulthood. Welcome to actual relationships. Both men and women do this all the time. But she wants to run to the internet and act like he committed some horrible offense. This is insane. Let's finish the video.
This next segment will be covering physical aggression disguised as play. There were instances of forced physical restraint and assault. He would pin me down with his entire body using both his arms and legs, making it impossible for me to move. He would then dig his hands and very forcefully into my armpits and ribcage to tickle me, which would cause pain. I would repeatedly yell at him to stop and let him know that he was hurting me, yet he would continue. Sometimes this would last for up to 5 minutes. It would reach a point that I would be in such a state of panic that I would have to use an immense amount of force to either kick him off or roll out of his grip. And even if I did escape, he would pin me down again and repeat the whole process. These were always played off as jokes. I was always accused of overreacting when I stated the pain and the discomfort from these incidents. That is only part of my story. That wasn't even what hurt me the most. But let it be known that every single abuser on this planet needs to be shaking in their boots, because we're not staying silent anymore.
Was he laughing when he was doing it too? So, oh man, I mean, all I can do is take what she's saying, okay? If she makes another video and says that, he actually essayed her, that's a different story. But what I'm hearing right now is not that at all. But let's look at the language she's using in this video. Physical aggression disguised as play, a state of panic, an immense amount of force, impossible to move. If you just read her phrasing, you'd think he had her in like a rear naked choke in a dark alley. And then she says, the actual activity. He tickled her. Tickling. She's treating tickling like he waterboarded her. And this is why people are just starting to tune women out. They're speaking with such hyperbole and hysteria. And she's doing this because she wants everyone to hear, he tickled me when I didn't want it, and interpret that as danger. Legitimate physical harm. Essay. I got to be careful with these terms because, YouTube's sensitive. But the inflation is absurd. I'm sorry, did you say tickling? Is this what we're doing now? I mean, come on. Grow up. And then the overwhelming amount of support. I can't wrap my head around this. She's sitting here attaching herself to survivors across the world, and her survival story is, my boyfriend tickled me too aggressively sometimes. What the Anyways, so that brings me to this term called concept creep. And this is the process by which harm-related topics experience semantic expansion to include things that would not have originally been included under that label. So this term was first described by Nick Haslam in 2016, who identified its effects on the concepts of abuse, bullying, trauma, mental disorder, addiction, and prejudice. The phenomenon is related to the concept of hyperbole. It's been criticized for making people overly sensitive to harms and for blurring people's thinking and understanding of these terms. By categorizing too many things together that shouldn't be, and by losing the clarity and specificity of a term. And who do you think are the main perpetrators of this? Of course, it's women and feminists. They're literally making it so these words have no meaning. But the problem is that when people hear these words, they still have an effect, especially when it comes to SA. And the only reason women like her are doing this is because they are desperately trying to be victims. And I would say it is kind of rooted in their anti-male misandric worldview. And these words are used to, again, demonize, shame, and publicly humiliate men, smear their reputations, and destroy their lives. And it's out of hand. Completely. When I first came across this video and I heard the things she was saying, I thought it must be satire. Because after all, we're talking about tickling. But hey, with these women, nothing is off the table. Everything can be abuse. They can, believe me, they can spin it, they can package it, and they'll find a way. And this is just another testament to the modern woman's obsession with acquiring victim currency. And like the dollar, it is inflated and losing its potency.